Good morning. I am Carmen McCullum. I am a reporter with the Times newspaper. I have here with me Dr. Peggy Hinckley, who is the Gary Emergency Manager, working with the team of Gary Recovery Services LLC, and Fred Seamon, who is the Executive Director of Gary Recovery Services LLC. So I want to bring us up to date. The contract has been signed now with the state. And what are you doing for this first year? You've been here on the ground running since August 1. What's going on?
Well, obviously, our first priority was getting schools started. So we had a number of facility issues to address. Then we had we had called that Operation Smooth Start. We were successful in achieving that. Then we had Operation Uptick from the time school started until count day in mid-September to try to bring people back to Gary Community Schools. There was a lot of confusion in the takeover of whether we were open or not. So now our focus, now that we have schools started, facilities have been brought up to a minimal level, now we're really focusing on dealing with how we deal with cost cutting, and we're kind of in an assessment phase of trying to understand everything. The state is going to require us to put in controls regarding some of the lack of internal financial controls that have been cited in previous audits, and get those kind of systems in place, as well as a deficit reduction plan. And then we have to have a plan to talk about how we're going to increase enrollment for the next school year.
And Fred, what is your role at this point?
My role primarily is to assist with the community engagement and outreach. We've had at least 2 parent meetings the first part of October. We also had a town hall meeting. And we've been trying to engage a variety of community organizations and groups to keep them informed about what we're trying to do over these coming weeks and months.
Okay, there is a deadline that you have to meet in January. What do you have to provide to the state at that point?
Well, essentially, as I referenced earlier, we have to have a deficit reduction plan. We have to show how we're going to put in place internal controls as it relates to payroll and payment of services, etc. And then we have to talk about a plan for how we're going to increase enrollment. We just hired a new licensed career and technical education director for the Gary Career Center, who will start on October 23rd. We believe the Gary Career Center is a very underutilized facility, and we really believe we can build capacity there, not only as a career and technical ed facility, but as an early college, high school facility. So having a licensed person in place will be the first key. And then as we continue to look at what we're doing here, I think we're going to have to look at what we're going to do with 7th and 8th grade, because currently some of it's in the high schools, some of it is in elementary, in K-8 buildings, and our principals and educators here have said to us that that's something that needs a focus.
What about school layoffs? What about closing buildings? What are we going to see this coming fall? Well, because certainly your hands are tied right now.
Right now, our hands are tied. We're required by May 31st to provide, per the contract, facility a master plan. So obviously what we have to decide is what are going to be our grade configurations. For example, are we going to move to a K-5 or K-6 and then move middle school students to a school within a school? What is that going to look like? And then we have to figure out then, what does the new Gary Community School look like? How many high schools, how many elementary schools, where will we put those middle school students? So that'll be our focus in trying to figure that out. And in Fred's involvement, making sure we have a conversation with parents about what they believe is important.